Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this video, we will start designing this coming soon page from scratch using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now I'll split this video into several parts. So in the first part, we will just design this using HTML and CSS. And then in the next video, I'll show you how to make it responsive. So we will have different versions for our design. So if I just decrease the width of this window, we can see there are different versions for our design. And then lastly, this is the mobile version. So we will design all of this from scratch using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And then in the end, I'll show you how to make this countdown timer work using JavaScript. So let's get started. Alright, so here I have opened up a folder called Coming Soon in VS Code. And I also have this folder called Images over here, and in that we have these images which we're going to use in our project. And let's start by creating an HTML file. So I'll just click on New File, and we'll just create a new file with the name of index.html. And we also need to have a CSS file, so let's create a new file and we'll just name it style.css. And then we also need to have a JavaScript file, so I'll just create a JavaScript file over here. We'll just name it main.js. And let's start with the index.html file. Now in VS Code, you have this shortcut where you can just press exclamation and press tab, and you'll have this basic HTML5 boilerplate code. And here I'll just link our CSS file, so I'll just type link and press tab. And in the href, I'll just type style.css. And here in the body, I'll just link our JavaScript file, so I'll just type script:/src and press tab. And here in the src, I'll just type main.js. Alright, now if we go back to our design, we can see that we are using a font called Montserrat. So let's get that font. So here I'm in fonts.google.com, and let's search for Montserrat. And let's click on this font. And we need to get the regular version and also the bold version. So let's go back and let's select the regular version from here. So I'll just click on select this style, and let's scroll down and let's look for the bold version. I think we'll just use this black version. So let's select this, and I'll just copy this link from here. And let's go back, and here in the HTML, in the head tag, I'll just add the link. Alright, now let's start with the markup. Now first of all, we're going to create a container division to hold everything. So let's create a division with the class of myContainer. And in that we need to have a left part for the image and a right part for all this content. So let's create a division with the class of left. Now in this left division, we need to add the image. So I'll just type img and press tab. And here in the src, I'll just type images / and we have an image called cloak.png. Right now let's create the right part, so I'll just type .right over here. And here in the right part, we need to have an h1. So let's create an h1. And here I'll just type coming soon. And then we'll create a paragraph for this. So I'll just copy this text, and I'll just create a paragraph and paste it over here. Right now the next thing we need to do is we need to create this counter. So for that, let's create a division with the class of counter. And in the counter division, we need to have different divisions for these different sections. So for each of these divisions, let's create a division with the class of unit container. Now in the unit container, we'll just have this days and also this value. So for that, let's create a division with the class of unit. And here I'll just type days. And then we'll create a division with the class of value. And here I'll just type this value over here. So let's type 5. So that's it with the first unit container. Now we need to create 3 more of this. So I'll just copy this and paste it 3 more times. And for the next one, we need to have hours and minute and second. So let's change these over here. So I'll just type HRS, and here I'll just type minute, and then he will type seconds. And I'll just add some values over here. Alright, now the last thing we need to do is add these social media icons. So let's create a division for that. We'll create a division with the class of social, and here we'll create anchor tags. And here in the href, you can just add the link of your social media account. For now, I'll just type hash over here. And the first image that we need to have is of Twitter. So I'll just type img. And in the src, I'll just type images / Twitter logo.png. And I'll just copy this anchor tag and paste it 2 more times. And for the next one, we need to have the image of Facebook logo. So here I'll just type Facebook. And then we need to have Twitch. And I think that's it with our HTML. So let's open this in our browser. So here I have this extension called Live Server installed on VS Code. So you can just search for Live Server and install it in VS Code. And once you do that, you can just right click over here in the HTML file and then click on Open with Live Server. And here we can see our design is being displayed over here in the browser. We have the image over here and also all the other content. Right now let's style this using CSS. So let's go back and let's go to style.css, and let's start by adding some styles to the body. So I'll just type body, and first of all we'll just remove all the margins that we have with our browser. So I'll just type margin 0, and now we can see we don't have any margins. And we'll also remove all the default padding. So I'll just type padding 0, and let's set the font family to Montserrat sans serif, and I'll also set the background color to black. So this is how our design looks right now. Right now let's go back and let's style the My Container division. Now the first thing we will do is we will set the position of this left part, which is the image, to absolute, so that it will have a fixed position. So let's go back and let's type My Container left, and we'll set the position to absolute, or we can also set the position to fixed. And I'll set the height of the left division to 100 viewport height, which is 100% height of the browser window. And now if we go back, we can see that there's no other content at the bottom, because now this image is on top of all the other content. So let's add a higher Z index to the right division. So let's go back, and if we go to the HTML, we can see that we have a left division and also a right division. So now let's target the right division. So here I'll just type My Container right, and we'll set the Z index to 200. Now since we have set a position of fixed to this left division, we also need to add some position to this right. So I just type position relative, and now we can see all the content is displayed over here. Now let's go back, and for the left division I will also set a display of flex and align items to the center, so that the image will always be in the center even if we decrease the size of the image. And here we will also add overflow of hidden to this left division, so that even if the height of the image is larger than 100% height of the browser window, it won't be displayed, so we won't have this scroll bar over here on the right. Alright, now let's go back, and now let's style the right division. And here for the right division we will also add a margin left. So I'll just type margin left, and we will set a margin left of 36%. Right now all the text content is at the top, so we'll bring it to the center. So for that let's add a display of flex to the container division. So our container division is My Container, and here I'll just type height of 100 viewport height, width of 100%, and display of flex and align items to the center. So this will bring all the elements to the center. Right now let's style the heading. So let's type My Container H1, and let's set a font size of 80 pixels, and let's set the color of the text to EDE 580, and we'll also make it uppercase. So I'll just type text transform uppercase. And now let's style the paragraph. So let's type My Container P, font size of 24 pixels, and the color of the text to white, and we'll also add a line height of 170%, and we'll also remove the margin from the paragraph and also the heading. So let's type margin top of 0, and even for the heading I'll just type margin 0. Now let's style these social media icons. So let's type My Container social, and we'll give it a margin left of 50 pixels, and we'll also add some margin between these icons. So let's go back and let's type My Container social A, and first of all let's set the display to inline block so that the margin and the padding can be applied correctly, and we will set text decoration to none so that we don't have the underlines for the anchor tags, and we'll also set a margin right of 50 pixels, and we'll also set a margin top. So if we go back to our design, we can see that there is some margin between the counter and the social media icons. So let's type margin top, and we'll just set it to 70 pixels. Right now the last thing we need to style is the counter. So let's type My Container counter, and in that we have a division with the class of unit container, and let's add a background color of white for this. And now we can see all the unit containers are one below the other. Now we need to have them one next to the other. So for that let's go to the container division. So I'll just type My Container counter, and we'll set the display to flex, And now we can see all the elements are one next to the other. Alright, now let's keep styling this unit container. So here we'll just have a padding of 8 pixels top and bottom and 32 pixels left and right. And we'll also set a margin right. So I just tap margin right and we'll set it to 30 pixels. And we'll also add a border radius of 24 pixels. Now let's style the unit and the value. So here we'll just type my container. So if we go back to the HTML, we can see we have a division with the class of unit and a division with the class of value. So let's target them. So here just type counter unit container value, and for the value we will have a font size of 60 pixels, and we'll set the font weight to 900, and we'll set the color of the text to E71828. And now let's style the unit. So here I'll just type my container counter unit container unit, and let's set the font size to 24 pixels and the font weight to 900, and we'll set the text transform to uppercase, and we'll also set the color of the text to 1D3557, and we'll also bring it to the center. So I'll just type text align center. Now for the paragraph we will have some margin bottom so that we will have some space between the counter and the paragraph. So let's go to the paragraph, and here I'll just type margin bottom and let's set it to 60 pixels. And now the last thing we need to do is we need to set the same width to all of these unit containers. Right now what happens is that when we have the number 1, we have less width for this number, and for other numbers we have larger width. So that's why the overall width of the unit container changes. So for that we can just add one line of CSS. So let's go back to the value, and here we need to add one line of CSS which is font variant numeric, and we need to set it to tabular nums. And now if you go back, we can see we have the same width for all the numbers. So that's why we have consistent width for the unit containers. Right, so that's basically it with the desktop version of our coming soon page. Now in the next video I'll show you how to make it responsive, and then we'll make this counter work. So that's it for this video. If you have any doubts you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.